Hassan and the Magical Paper, Journey to a World Without Modern Money. Abdul Salim. Hassan loved exploring the quiet corners of his home. One rainy afternoon, he crept into his father's study, a room filled with the scent of old leather and ink. On the mahogany desk sat a piece of parchment that didn't look like ordinary paper. It was thick, creamy, and seemed to hum with a secret energy. As Hassan reached out to touch it, the edges began to shimmer with a faint, golden light. As soon as Hassan's fingers brushed the paper, the golden light exploded into a brilliant blue radiance. The ink on the page began to swirl like a tiny, blue ocean. Hassan's eyes widened in wonder as the room around him started to fade into a mist. He wasn't afraid. The paper felt warm and welcoming, like a bridge to somewhere very far away. Suddenly, the floor disappeared. Hassan felt light as a feather as he tumbled through a kaleidoscope of colors. He saw glimpses of ancient cities, sparkling rivers, and mountains made of sand. The modern world, with its buzzing phones and plastic credit cards, was left far behind. He was traveling through time, guided by the magic of the glowing parchment. With a soft thump, Hassan landed on his feet. The air was hot and filled with the delicious smells of roasting meat, sweet cinnamon, and fresh hay. He was standing in the middle of a bustling marketplace. There were no cars or paved roads. Instead, people wore long, flowing robes, and camels carried heavy bundles through the sandy streets. Nearby, a tall man named Malik was struggling with several heavy sacks. Hassan watched as Malik approached a fruit stall. Malik didn't pull out a wallet or a phone. Instead, he opened one of his sacks to reveal piles of golden, sun-ripened wheat. Hassan realized that in this world, what you grew or made was your currency. Malik stopped at a stall owned by a man named Karim. Karim had baskets overflowing with deep purple dates and bright orange apricots. Malik offered 2 scoops of his wheat in exchange for a basket of dates. They talked and laughed, finally shaking hands on the deal. This was bartering, a direct exchange of needs and hard work. Hassan walked up to Karim's stall. "Don't you use money?" he asked, thinking of the coins in his piggy bank. Karim smiled and reached into a small leather pouch at his waist. He pulled out a shining gold coin. "We use these when trades are big," Karim explained. "This is a gold dinar. It is valuable because the metal itself is rare and beautiful." Karim pointed toward a small table under a blue canopy. There sat a man with a long white beard and a pair of brass scales. "That is Zaid, the money changer," Karim said. "He ensures that every coin is fair." Hassan walked over, curious to see how money worked before banks and ATMs existed. Zaid picked up a smaller, shimmering coin. "This is a silver dirham," Zaid told Hassan. "We use these for smaller things like a loaf of bread or a new tunic. We weigh them on these scales to make sure they are pure. In our world, you cannot just print more money. It must come from the earth and represent the work you have done." Hassan looked at the scales. "But how do you know people won't cheat?" he asked. Zaid placed a hand on Hassan's shoulder. "That is the most important lesson, young traveler. Real money is not just gold or silver. It is trustworthiness. If a merchant is not honest, no one will trade with him. Honor is the weight that keeps the scales of the world balanced." Further down the street, Hassan saw a man named Latif, working with wood. Latif was carefully carving the leg of a sturdy chair. He explained that his skill was his way of earning. "By learning carpentry, I create something useful," Latif said. "Work is how we provide for our families and help our neighbors." Hassan realized that value came from effort and talent. Before leaving, Hassan saw a young girl named Aisha who looked hungry. Remembering Zaid's words about honor and Karim's kindness, Hassan shared the dates Karim had given him. He felt a warm glow in his chest that was brighter than any gold coin. Charity, he learned, was the best way to use what you have earned. The magical paper in Hassan's pocket began to vibrate again. The marketplace started to blur, and the sounds of the camels and merchants faded into a distant hum. Hassan gripped the paper tight, thinking of Malik's wheat, Zaid's scales, and Latif's woodshop. He was ready to go home, but he was not the same boy who had left. With a flash of blue, Hassan was back in his father's study. The room was quiet and smelled of old books again. He looked down at the parchment. The glow was gone, and the ink was still. He reached into his pocket and found a small, smooth stone from the ancient market, a souvenir of his journey to a world without modern money. That evening, Hassan started a new project. He found a small wooden box to save his allowance, promising to only spend it on things of real value. He asked his father to teach him how to use a hammer and nails, wanting to learn a skill like Latif. Most importantly, he set aside a portion of his coins for charity, knowing that a heart full of trust and kindness was the greatest wealth of all.